Hello everybody and welcome to Stretch Pilates. My name is Jenna and this is Karen. And today we're going to talk you through a couple of Stretch Pilates principles. So Karen is standing on the base of her mat. She's gazing straight ahead and I would love for you to try and do the same. Stand with your feet underneath your hip bones, hands are relaxed at your sides. And just notice. Notice how much weight you're putting through your forefoot or your hind foot, how much weight is on one of your feet versus the other. You're going to try and lengthen your spine, lifting your head off your shoulders, and breathe deeply in through your nose and out through your mouth. Again, you'll notice, where does the air go? How easy is it to breathe in or out? Are you finding that the air moves into your chest? And are you proud of that fact? At the moment, you're just noticing where the air is going. But I would prefer the air to go into your belly, which might come as a shock because so many of the clients that I see, that we see in studio, are breathing badly, breathing using the accessory muscles, using the muscles that are supposed to be helpers, not the primary breathing muscle. And so while you're feeling the weight through your toes, feeling that the arches are lifted, feeling the weight through your heels and the length in your spine, you're also going to try and drag the air into your tummy, inhaling fully into the front, the back, and the sides of your abdomen. And so because you're standing with your hands at your sides, you should also feel that you could breathe into your arms themselves. And so you want to avoid breathing into your chest. And imagine that I have a vice gripping your sternum down, and now the air has nowhere to go but into the bottom of your rib cage using the diaphragm, which is your main breathing muscle. And so before you hyperventilate from all this excess breathing, we're going to move your body. So I want you to nod chin to chest, still aware of your breath, but don't overdo it. Bring the air into your tummy and exhale. You've nodded chin to chest and we've only got that far. That's fine. I would love for you to bend the rest of your spine, and as you do so, feel one bone move at a time. And so we are bringing attention to segmental articulation of the spine. And hopefully it doesn't feel too tight in the back, but the tightness feels like goodness. Tucking in the chin. You bend in half. Yes, stay there. Put your weight back to the forefoot because you'll find most of us hinge back onto our heels, and you might need to soften your knees a little bit. And then roll yourself back up, starting from the base of your spine. You're going to tuck your tailbone under and roll back up to standing. And so we are heroing bone by bone movements here. Nod chin to chest, and then on your out breath, roll down again. The weight is in the middle / forefoot. You aren't going to hyperextend your knees, meaning straighten and straighten and straight. There's a micro bend in your knees. And you continue to roll down until you feel a good pull, not a bad, horrible feeling in the body. If you should feel something out of sorts, then that's where you stop and you make your way back up. And you're welcome to send us messages asking for advice on, I have a sticky roll down. How can you help me with my roll down? And shoulders away, and potentially engage with us on our school platform, and one of our instructors can help you with some advice on that. And so that's the roll down. Let's do one more. Nod chin to chest. You'll find it in most of our classes in some form. We change it up a little bit, crossing the ankles, maybe the hands are behind the head, but we often start our sessions like this. It just brings you into the space. It mobilizes the segments of your body that need to be warmed up and brings awareness into your breath and your body. Roll yourself back up. Great. Unraveling to stand. And now you can notice how you feel post the roll down. Perhaps you felt tightness on one side more than the other. Maybe you felt excessive roundness in the shoulders. So you just want to try and set yourself up for success here. by opening the collarbones, dropping your chest, engaging your tummy, getting tall through your head, and we can relax. Let's make our way down to the mat. That can be done comfortably, as you please. You can either sit down on your bottom, just like Karen did, or we can make our way down into a 4-point kneeling position and then eventually swing round to sitting on your bum. So it might look different depending on your individual needs. Knee pain, hip pain, back pain. So we meet on the mat. I want you to separate your feet by about a fist width apart, and that mimics your pelvis, the sit bones. So we're trying to keep the knees and the legs in a alignment. And we want to get you in the middle of the mat. So make sure that your bottom's in the middle so that when you lie down on the mat. And you're going to slowly make your way down to lying with your head on the mat. That's very important for me. It's a pet peeve. And the problem with not getting your head on the mat is you don't realize that you're guilty of doing that. And your head lands up being on the floor, and after a while, you think, why is it so uncomfortable? And you realize you actually were lying down with your head off the mat. So it stands for something more in my practice. I'm like, if I have a class of 10 people, I'll end up saying, for goodness sake, have some self-respect and get your head on your mat. You know, make it comfortable for yourself is really the point I'm trying to make. So we want to set ourselves up properly. So here we are on our backs. The feet are fist width apart. All 10 toes press into the ground. I'm going to land up cueing you guys from the feet up towards the head today. And I think it's quite a good habit for you to have for yourselves is if you can think of your body and your alignment and become autonomous and start caring about your positioning. You don't leave it up to the instructor to run around and fix you. You actually care, yes, my feet are fist width apart. I've separated them on purpose. So let's say, for example, the feet were together. You toe out your toes like a pizza slice, and that gives you a nice distance, 7 to 10 centimeters. And then you heel yourself out, and now you have alignment, kneecaps, ankle, hip bones. The hands are pressing into the floor, they're reaching long. Pelvis is in a neutral position. So for you, that might just be natural position, which feels comfy, and we will start to define what neutral is as we work along. And the shoulders need to drop down into the mat. And what you find happens here is when you drop your shoulders into the mat, you actually feel your spine spring up. So we've got to be careful of that. I want you to anchor back down the bottom of your ribs. That like 11, 12 rib has to try to touch the mat. So you're going to need to tighten your tummies to get rib 11 and 12 on the floor. And then take a few breaths into your belly while you're lying here. And if we've set you up properly, that feels like work. Does it feel like work, Karen? When my hands are touching, she wants to shoo me away. So yes, there is a lot of hands-on adjustments that happen in the classes because it's proprioceptive. There's a feedback from having hands. And if you don't have the benefit of getting my hands on your body, you can use your own hands. You can place your own hands on your ribs. And I think the brain really loves it. It loves to feel where you are in space because not all of us have capacity to sense where we are in space yet. Yet being an operative word. So after a few breaths here, we're going to start movement. Oh, thank goodness. Hands at your sides. You're dropping the ribs, but you're also going to drop the middle of your back. So I want you to squash the entire length of your spine, like the keys on a piano. We're pressing all the keys of the piano, the spinal piano, down into the floor. And that might look slightly different for each one of us. I would love for it to look less bulgy in the belly. So you want to suck in your tummy and try and imprint your spine without blowing a fluffy valve on the front of your body. Okay? Then you curl the tailbone more. And it's like a naughty puppy that's done something shameful. There's a tuck in the tail. And that tuck is initiated by the abdomen, the tummy. But you could also use a little bit of hamstring. That's the back of the leg here. So you can encourage the tuck to be a push from the bum and the hammy. And then unravel your pelvis. Awesome. Yes. And so we're going to go again. We're going to use the stomach to initiate, and then you can use the posterior chain, the back of your body, to just push along the coccyx and the pelvis into this tilt. and then untuck. And the untuck is as important as the tuck because you need the oppositional muscles to work to untuck, and then you go back into your tuck. And so you have this balancing act between the front and the back of the body, and you're starting to learn to control it. But when you untuck, let's untuck all the way, even if it means it feels a little bit far, it's good for your brain to feel the ends of these two positions. Last one, we imprint the spine, and then you untuck. Great. Now we're going to keep the tailbone down on the floor. So that means you're not going to tuck, okay? But your chest presses down into the floor so that 11 and 12, the ribs, are pushed down. But realize that when you push down the ribs, your tail automatically wants to tuck, doesn't it? So we're trying to avoid that. And you're going to lift your arms up towards the ceiling, and your palms face towards your thighs. Now you'll keep your ribs down, 11 and 12, and attempt to take your arms past your ears. And when you do that, you get a bit of a fright because the ribs want to lift, and you can't take your hands as low as you thought you could. And then push your hands through the air as if the air was filled with toffee. And so you're pressing those arms through space with, an intention. So it's actually self-inflicted. And you can take your hands all the way down, past your thighs, pressing the palms and the wrists into the mat all the way, and your shoulders back into the ground. And then you'll float your arms back up and all the way over, attempting to go past your ears with no change in the rib cage. Okay, so we're now learning to keep the torso still and then bring the hands forward while the limbs do something funky. Okay, so initially we mobilized the spine with the roll downs. We also mobilized and activated some of the stabilizers with the tilts. But now we're keeping stillness. Go again. And you maintain your stillness, but you're challenging that stillness. You're challenging integrity by mobilizing the limbs and come back down. That's great. Hands will lower to the sides, and you're going to squash your fingertips into the floor, squash your wrists, squash your shoulders, and lift your right leg into tabletop. And so when you lift your right leg, notice that your weight shifted onto your right bottom, but it doesn't need to. You can force it back, and you can cause yourself a little more discomfort and distress and challenge, and keep the left knee from opening out to the side. So you pull it in as if there's an imaginary pole against the inner thigh. You're dragging the knee into that pole, and you're pulling the left hip into the ground, and you drop your 11 and 12 rib. Good. So you've got right leg and tabletop, and I want you to try straighten it up to the ceiling. Yes, did anything bulge? Maybe. Bend the knee again. Don't let it bulge and explode. Keep everything pulled in and extend it, and then bend it. Good. And so we're changing the length tension, go again, of this hamstring muscle, and it has an effect on the whole body and how you're holding yourself together. Yes. And where your weight is. So you want to keep pressing through the foot on the left. Hey? And last one, we extend that right leg up to the ceiling, keep the left hip pressed down, keep the hands pressed into the ground, keep the shoulders pushed into the floor, and lower the right leg to the floor. Lower it all the way. So here you can reset and find equal length on your two sides, because you're probably jacking up that left hip into your left shoulder. So get equal length in your waist. The hips move away from your armpits, but your 11 and 12 is down. Shoulders are down. And you're going to lift that right leg up to the ceiling, and then lower it back down again. And you will lift it up to the ceiling. Feel how your bum wants to tuck, but don't let it. Drop your coccyx and down. And lift it 2 more. And lower. Feel how the left glute wants to help push the right leg up. Drop your tailbone into the floor. And lower. Good. And then we need to change legs. So slide back in. Set yourself up again. Ribs down, tail down. Abs are scooped and hollowed. Left leg goes to tabletop. Notice the right bum now lifts, so push him down. Notice the right knee drops out, so pull him in. And so you extend the left leg up to the ceiling with absolutely no change to the rest of the body, and then bend the left knee. And we're going to do it again. Ribs are down. Lengthen that left waistline. Okay, there's a lot of cues coming at you. Right knee pulls in against me. And we keep going. And you're still breathing. And your last one. And then we lower the leg down to the floor. And here we reset. We find length in that left leg. Reaching, 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 reaching. Ribs are closed. Abs are scooped and hollowed. So they're not sticking out. You lift the leg. And you lower the leg. And you lift. Good. And lower. And you keep trying to make things more valuable. Try and make it good for you, better for you, best for you. And then last one. Are we even? Do you owe me one more? One more. And then slide the leg back in. Great. Earlier on, we did the pelvic tilt, where we hollowed the abdomen and pressed the spine into the floor. And the muscle that we use to initiate that is called the transverse abdominis. It's really, really important. It's not important that you remember the name. You might end up picking up what the name is over time because we refer to this muscle a lot. But it's a corset. So if you take your fingers and you place your hands on your hip bones, and then you move 2 centimeters in and down and press into your bikini line, essentially, that's, everyone has one, so I don't mind saying bikini line. But if you have your fingers in there, you can palpate and feel the difference between the oblique attachment and the transverse abdominis attachment. So if you cough, the obliques jump into your fingers. If those land up activating now in this next exercise, then we are using maybe the wrong muscles. We're using muscles that are movers, and we want to use muscles that are stabilizers. So I would prefer to not have bulging under your fingers when we do this next exercise. So you want to draw in your tummy such that the tummy disappears from your fingers rather than pushes into your fingers. And that is a difficult task. So some of you will be lying at home going, I don't see the problem here. And others will be lying there saying, this is impossible. She's a witch. I don't know what she wants from me. So it is a personal experience, and you might be battling along on this journey. But if you find it's always bulging, it's probably that you're trying too hard and you care too much. So you want to have a subtle hollow and scoop of the tummy so that you can still talk normally without anyone saying, she's a sucker in her. You can tell if someone's sucking in. Hello, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. So it must just be a 30% activation, nothing more, please. And then you should be able to lift one leg to tabletop, and followed by lift the other leg to tabletop, and that's when the wheels fall off the bus. You can feel, it's gonna blow. Okay, so we're somewhere on the continuum of managing to keep it sucked in with this very difficult exercise. I always do this to show people what failure feels like. Lower one leg, lower the other leg, and that's your transverse abdominis. So all the exercises we'll end up doing in our class setting, online, in person, in studio, private, or whatever it looks like, we want to make sure that you understand that that is a 30%, not 100, activation of the corset-like muscle, and that everything stems from your center. So the ability to move your legs in all shapes and beautiful ranges has to come from a place of integrity here. And so you do not blow and then go. You draw in like a drawstring. Okay? So hands move behind your head for me. You have your feet pressing into the floor, a 30% activation of the transverse abdominis, which forms the front of your core. I want you to press your head into your hands, really pressing the head into the hands to turn on the back body, because you won't have stability if you don't have both ends active participants in the exercise. So the head is pressed into the hands. You're going to drop your chest down into the floor, nod your chin slightly. Everybody tries very hard with these elbows. You must try less. You're going to lift your elbows 4 fingers off the floor so that you have comfort in your scapula, which are your blades. And then on an out breath, can you lift your head, your chest up into a chest lift, which is like a sit-up, but we're not going up high. You just come up. And then you'll feel it wants to blow in the middle of your belly. So you want to keep that energy going up and under your ribs. You may lie down. And again, we're going to notice, come on up on an out breath. What happens to your tail? Hold it there for me. Drop your tail. Everybody tack their tails down on the ground again. And then lower your heart. So Karen's doing it well, but I know what we do. And that's one of the little sneaky cheats. And then lift head and chest. It's not on purpose. No one's cheating on purpose. It's just the body wants to fold like a smile. Both ends of the smile want to come up and then lower yourself down. And so you have to intervene, tap down your tail, and crest up the top half of your body, almost like a wave. So come on up, crashing over the rocks. The energy goes up the wave and crests over. And then down. And so we'll do 2 more like that. It's an out breath to come up. You can hold it on an inhale here at the top, which really challenges you. And then lower yourself back down. And again, last one. Okay, stay there. Lift a little higher. You want to clear your blades. That's what we're aiming for. So some of us are crunching quite low, like 2 centimeters off the ground. Get the height that you can, the highest you can possibly get without clearing the ground completely. Then turn your heart to shine past your right thigh. So you turn to look that way. But I want you all to keep crunching. So higher. Come to center. Good. Breathe out. Come towards me. Shine your heart to me. Don't open that armpit. Close this rib. Yes, so come to me with both armpits. Yeah, back to center. Over to the right. Like the Queen's wave. Where we go wrong is that we open that armpit on the right. Come back to center. Don't open the armpit on the left. Crunch this armpit to me. Yes. And back to center. Let's do one more per side. Up, so no pain in your neck. You must push your head into your hands. It turns on the back of the body. And come back to center. And then last one. Come to me, both armpits. Shorten the left armpit. Back to center. Crunch the highest that you possibly can. Grab the back of your legs, please. Lift yourself up a little bit more, like 3 centimeters. Hands back behind your head. Hold it there. Lower yourself back down slowly and relax. Well done. We're going to put the feet together, knees together. And the hands will move out into a T, out to the side. Yes. So your palms face up to the ceiling. And you want to care about your thumbs being pressed into the floor. But then again, in all of us, we tend to hyperextend our elbows these days. So I think it's a tone thing. Like our biceps are tight and the other muscles can't compete. So your knobbly elbow needs to shine down on the floor while your thumbs remain touching the ground. Does it stretch you? So it might stretch you guys at home as well. And so to know that you're doing it correctly, you're going to bend at the elbow so that you lift your forearms to shine into one another. And then you've got a knobbly elbow on the floor. And you're not allowed to change your humerus, which is your upper arm bone, at all. And you are going to try and separate your blades a little bit more. Yes. And then when you open your arm back out, you don't move your humerus bone into internal or external rotation. You just extend your arms from there and get the thumb to touch, and then be quite critical of the wrist. Squash them. Squash your wrist down. Okay. So it's stretching. It can be quite neural, in fact. While you're lying there, you're welcome to have a neural stretch where you just curl those wrists in. How does it feel? Feels good. And then extend. Now wait there. Feel the middle of your back just shoving itself into the floor, like you're doing CPR on your sternum. You're crushing your chest down. Yes. And then your knees, which are touching, and your feet, which are touching, are actually just going to tip over. You're going to tip over the knees to the right hand side. The left foot lifts, and over you go. The soles of the feet are now free of the ground. They're like flat and stuck. The inside edge of the foot stuck on the other inside edge. I can see your dirty socks. And 2 different socks. Come back. And now we're going to show everyone else your dirty socks. Your knees come over towards me. keeping the knees stacked. So you really want to make sure that that top knee presses longer than you think it must go. And back to center. The chest is down into the ground. The elbows are still knobbly bits down into the ground. So I have to fix this one. Sorry. And reach. She's got a tight bicep, that's why. She's feeling judged. But this is a non-judgmental judginess. And then we carry on. The show goes on, you keep going. Yes. And back. Over you go. Bring me your knee. And it's because we care that we hold you guys to quite high standards, you know. I'm not going to say beautiful if it's not beautiful. This is beautiful from here down, Karen. That elbow, I'm going to break it and put it back in, fix it, align it. And last one. It can't do it. Too much Instagram. Karen does our Instagram. Enough is enough. We come back to center. And well done. You're going to come to a seated position. So I'm going to tell Karen to grab the back of her legs and kind of use her legs to help her to come to seated. And that could look differently for each one of you. Straighten the legs out in front. And then you're going to open your legs out wide. Go to flex your toes to your nose or up to the ceiling. So when I say toes to nose, I often find we curl our toes a bit too much. So you're going to go up towards the ceiling. Yeah. But your foot is super flexed. And just sitting there is hard. Can you feel the back's working? Just to sit there. And so Karen's hands are resting on the ground in front of her. And she's going to slide them forward while tucking in her chin. And she's going to roll down like we did in the beginning of the session, curling one bone at a time. And the aim is to stretch the back body and to strengthen the front. So over she goes. And then you might notice, but maybe you won't notice, but you might notice that your shoulders are trying to do most of the work. So you need to squeeze the shoulders down your back and together a little bit more so that the work comes from the abs and the spine is affected. Then come back up to seated. Good. And you unravel. And you make the sequencing as valuable as the range. Nod chin to chest. Bone by bone rolls down. You go forward and over. And you want to try and pull your tummy off of your t-shirt so that you hollowed. Yes. And you get to come back up. And unravel the spine. And then you go down again. Curling, 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 curling. And back up to seated. Imagining that there was a wall behind you. You nod chin to chest. And peel off. Really caring about the quality of your movements. How strong are your feet, your thighs? Are you squashing the back of your knees into the ground? Are your thighs pulled taut and tight and hard as a rock? And then roll yourself back up. All the way. Get to me, get to me, get to me. And lengthen. Fantastic. Let's get you on your hands and your knees. And so we're going to start this in roundness. Really round your back up. And you're pressing your hands under your shoulders. And you're tucking your tail underneath your bottom. And you are in roundness. You're going to feel if that roundness is maybe too much in one area and not enough in another. You want to even out your roundness a little bit. And then sink your spine down into straightness. Go past straightness. And go into a hollowed spine. Squeezing the shoulder blades together. And you want to feel if you're breaking in any point. So the neck maybe is too much. So less neck for me. And more heart. More dropping of the middle of the back. And then roundness again. So your roundness comes from deep inside. You curl up into your roundness. And then you unravel into straightness and beyond. Exposing the heart forward. Squeezing the shoulder blades together. wrapping your glutes, which means you're clenching your cheeks, and go up again. From deep inside, you pull your center. You're pulling your pubic bone towards your sternum. So you're actually folding both ends of the spine in towards one another. And your eye line gazes between the thighs. And then unravel to look forward. Squeezing the scapula. And imprint the spine, come up into roundness. Very good. And unravel to straightness. Now find a neutral position of your spine. So every posture you have has neutral. Neutral is not your natural. Okay, so sometimes we have to intervene. We need to stick out the tailbone more, exposing your bum so that you have a hollow in your low back. For some of you, maybe the hollow will be too much, so you will need to do an antidote to that by tucking the tail a little bit. But we need more, Karen. Yes. Now we've got a natural curve in the low back and we move a little higher. Sometimes we have to minimize the upper back roundness. Sometimes we have to establish it a little bit more. We want the shoulder blades apart. So if you feel like your shoulders are squeezing together and you're sinking through your heart, then you want to pretend there's a spear underneath. You're just lifting. Everyone can benefit from pretending there's a spear stabbing your collarbones up. And then a little hollow in the nape of your neck. So your eye line is directly down. And from here, you get to tuck your toes underneath you without changing anything about the shape of your body. And you lift your knees a centimeter off the floor. Now, in some of us, we've lost the tail untucked. So you need to untuck more and be there and hold it for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Well done. You're going to push to standing. So you press your legs straight. So hands on the floor for me. Yes. Walk your hands towards your toes. And then roll yourself up very slowly to standing. And if the wrists are still singing a song and they didn't enjoy being on your hands and your knees, we have a couple videos for you. Let's nod chin to chest. And roll down slowly, slowly. There's a softness in the spine and an activation in the abdomen. And the shoulders are still on your back, so you're not completely ragdolly. Lean forward. Weight on your forefoot. Activation across the glutes and the hips. You're going to roll yourself back up. So wrists are a common issue that we can work around. We've got loopholes and we have antidotes. One more. Nod chin to chest and curl down. And then wrap the glutes. Roll yourself back up to standing. Well done. That's it. Sure. And that was a quick start, a whirlwind around the mat, but those principles will be pulled at. The thread is it's a golden thread that weaves through Pilates. So we expand on a lot of those principles and the exercises progress quite rapidly. And so I look forward to the next installment where you're going to work a lot harder on more targeted areas. But today was just showing you some of the principles of breath and activation and mobilization. And so you can look forward to installment number 2, which is going to be very valuable. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Karen.